morning, everybody. I hope you all are doing well. And this is another morning of Saturday Sentiments. I want to welcome you officially. Saturday Sentiments, for anyone who's not familiar, is where we dig deep to find the good stuff. So that's what I want to do today. And just letting you know out at the front that our topic today is the meaning and challenges of light. Actually, I think I just said challenge, right? Yeah. The meaning and challenge of light. There are challenges, but essentially they boil down to one main challenge, which we'll talk about later on. So, to get some things out of the way, I want to encourage everyone to like, to follow, to subscribe to Jazz in the Spirit at these various platforms, Facebook, YouTube, Instagram. We are also on Periscope, which goes on Twitter, and we're also on Twitch. So we want to encourage you to avail yourselves of those platforms and to, follow us and see what's going on in this Jazz in the Spirit journey and partner with us as well. Want to let you know that we've got our t-shirts and our mugs still available. I had mentioned, for those of you that may have had a chance to check out Friday Night Inspiration last night, we have, now that we've reached our 1-year anniversary with doing Friday Night Inspiration, we've reduced the price of both the t-shirts and the mugs. So they are now $20 for the t-shirts and $10 for the mugs. Call it a COVID sale if you like, or an anniversary sale. But we hope that y'all will support. And this is what they look like. So let's see. I think you can still see this on the Facebook and YouTube folks. And it's just there's a little frost here, but it just has Jazz in the Spirit on there. And the best part is it's very refreshing when I'm up here talking all this time. And so we hope that you all will support. And of course, the Jazz in the Spirit CD and a digital album is still available. We are still striving toward our goal of 10,000 units sold, downloaded, or streamed by June 18th of this year, which is just a few months away. So if you have not had an opportunity to see what this album is all about, to see what the fuss is all about, please check it out. You can check it out for free on YouTube. But I hope that you will also decide to use the outlets that are available, which provide more revenue for the artists like me, who put our blood, sweat, and tears into these albums, that just come from our heart. So if you appreciate it, we hope that you all will also appreciate us in that way. So some notes from last week. I had intended to do a Saturday Sentiments last week and to skip this week, but that didn't happen because it was the day before Easter, and I was really up to my ears in preparation for Easter Sunday. It was a beautiful day. It always is. Just a glorious and a blessed day. But it's just a lot of work. But these are some of the reflections that I had from that day to set the stage for our topic. I wrote, I'm writing today because, like so many church musicians, it's the Saturday before Easter, the biggest Sunday of the year, and I have so much to do. 2 virtual choir projects for church, recording tracks, a lot of administrative work, a completely unrelated soul expressions rehearsal with a bunch of new music, and of course, sleep when I can. Yeah, as it turns out, I don't think I even went to sleep the night before Easter, so yeah. That's why, like Christmas, Easter is only once a year. But if there were ever a day to go all out, this is it. The way I look at it, God gave the best he had for me. So I'm determined to give the best I have for God. That brings me to my topic for today, the meaning and challenge of light. Okay, so if we think about it, a word like light is so simple and yet so profound at the same time. In the Oxford English Dictionary, or the Oxford Dictionary of the English Language, which is an extensive volume. I actually still have one of the original ones, a hard copy, and it's about this, it's about this thick. And there are still words like anti-disestablishmentarianism in the dictionary. Now, in the digital age, it's a lot easier. You can just find anything on your phone or whatever. But in that dictionary, there are over 18 definitions / meanings of the word light. And we'll look at those meanings to get the meaning. You know what I mean? So in other words, for all of these definitions, they kind of point to a central principle. And as we look, I want you to also consider the symbolic meanings of these definitions as well, okay? So let's dive in. So one definition is, as a noun, a definition is the natural agent that stimulates sight and makes things visible. So when you think about it, it helps us to see. That's the essence of it. So it helps us to see literally, but also think about how the symbol of light helps us to see in a metaphorical way and also in a spiritual way. So that's number one. Number two, this is also a noun, an expression in someone's eyes indicating a particular emotion or mood. Okay, so for example, you talk about there was a light in her eyes, or in his eyes. Then there's a subcategory inside of that says a person's opinions, standards, or abilities. They're lights. So this is a less used or a less common usage or definition, but it's a subset of that other one. And, think about it, the aura that a person gives off, based on their opinions, their standards, or their abilities, can kind of be thought of as their light. What kind of light, what kind of aura do you give off? Number three, also a noun, an understanding of a problem or mystery, similar to the word enlightenment. And then a subcategory inside of that is a person notable or eminent in a particular sphere of activity or place. So, so a person has, there's, You know, you think about, oh, there's a light at the end of a tunnel. There's certain insight that you get. So think about that. Light as a way to facilitate understanding or deeper meaning, deeper understanding. And also, a light is a person who, is knowledgeable of a particular thing. So they're a light when it comes to this, okay? And I'm absolutely going somewhere with this. Some of you probably can already figure it out. Number 4, now we get into the verbs. And I'm actually not doing every single definition, but I'm doing enough of them so you can see some of the different ways that the word light is used and some of the different meanings that we ascribe to it. So in the verb category, to provide with light, in other words, to light, or to illuminate, lit up a room. And then think about, how verb is an action in many cases. Think about how what we do provides light or gives off light to all those around us, similar to our aura. But our actions provide light. Our actions give off light, or they don't. Another verb is number 5. Come upon or discover by chance. To light on a possible solution. So that's another one that's less common, but still also used. And think about it. Sometimes, you can see a lot better once the light is on. If you're trying to find something in the dark, good luck. But if you turn on the light, then all of a sudden that thing that was so hard to find, it's like, oh, there it is. It might be under something or kind of hiding out, but you can see it a lot better in the light. So in a similar way, you come upon, an idea like, oh, as if a light goes off, right? So here's number 6 is an archaic definition that's really fallen out of common usage now. But this used to be a term that they used, a definition that they used for light. To fall and settle on a surface. So a person lit down from their horse, meaning they got down, or a feather lit on the ground. So you land on something. You can think about a bird lighting on a tree. This is another meaning for the word light. A way that we land on a particular thing, we settle into a particular thing, or we kind of come to a place of rest on a particular thing. Can you see some of the implications here for that meaning, even though it's archaic? Number 7, this is still in the verb category. Make something start burning, ignite. You all know this one. To light a cigarette or something else. Don't worry, it's legal most places now. But think about the symbolic implications of that. To light, is, I remember, there was an old church song that said, I wish somebody's soul would catch on fire. And basically the idea was, the excitement and the exuberance and the life change that comes about when the Holy Spirit, dwells in you and comes in your life, is like a fire. So I wish somebody's soul would catch on fire. Burning with the Holy Ghost was the rest of the song. And it was always an exciting song whenever someone would do it. And people would usually join in. That's the definition number 7, to make something start burning or ignite. Then number 8 is an adjective, okay? Having a considerable or sufficient amount of natural light, not dark. So in other words, something is light. Like it's pretty light in here. It's like the light is on. It's not dim. It's not dark. It's not difficult to see. And you can imagine what we're talking about here is when there is the presence of light. It's not dark. It's light. You can see. You're aware of everything and everyone else around you. Then another one, number 9, another adjective definition of pale color. Okay, so yeah, I know. Sometimes people of color kind of get into a thing with this particular definition of the word light. As we talk about color of skin, we talk about hue, light skin versus dark skin, and there are value judgments associated with it, and all of that. But I'm not trying to suggest that at all. I'm just giving you the definition that I found in the dictionary as, something is let's say a color like, like orange versus a color like purple. One is considered more of a lighter color, one is considered a darker color. Neither one is better. You need both. And you see them all in the rainbow, so they all belong there. So when you look at that definition, depending on your worldview, you sometimes ascribe value to how light or dark a particular thing is. So I'm not trying to do that, but I'm just letting you know that that's another definition of the word light. And I want you to consider what that can mean, when the degree of light is greater and when the degree of light is lesser from a symbolic standpoint. Now, here's some other adjectives. Now, this one is probably pretty common, but it carries with it some somewhat different symbolic implications, as you'll see in a moment. Number 10 says, of little weight, not heavy. So, this is pretty light. This isn't too bad, right? But it can also, another definition, slightly different connotation, is deficient in weight, especially by a specified amount. In other words, if you were expecting something to be of a certain weight and it wasn't, and it's like there's you missing something, like, oh, this is light. This is kind of light, Or sometimes people talk about their pockets are kind of light because they don't have enough money. So those are not really thought of as a positive connotation. Sometimes you're about, oh, so-and-so is a lightweight, they're not really that significant, or they're not really anything to be worried about. So that's number 11, deficient in weight, especially by a specified amount. Number 12 is very similar, not strongly built or heavily constructed. So for all of my engineers and my contractors, the difference between when something is solid and when it's, it's not. The minute something hits it or, a strong gust of wind comes, that thing is going to topple over, right? Because it wasn't built to sustain challenge. It wasn't meant to stand up. So in that way, light can be seen as a negative thing. So here's another one. Light, a small quantity, as in food to ingest. So, I just want a light helping. of this particular thing. So once again, it's just something that's seen as small. Then number 14 definition is gentle or delicate, as in a light kiss on the cheek. So that can be pleasant. You could think of a light in that way as something that makes you feel good. Then, but here we go on the other side. These are all in adjectives. Light as requiring little mental effort, as in light entertainment, as opposed to heavy entertainment that requires a whole lot of preparation, a lot of work. It's like, we're just gonna do something light for the folks, just not get too serious, just a little something. Okay, and here's another definition, number 16. Free from worry, or happiness, cheerful, he's just a lighthearted kind of person. And then number 17, not serious or solemn, as in a tone of voice. So you can say, I want you to do a particular thing, in a strong tone of voice. I'd like for you to do such and such a thing. So, that's a light, another definition of light. And then this one, I was debating whether or not to even use it, but there's a reason that I'm going to use later, and you'll see. This is an archaic definition that's not in common use anymore, and you can see why. It is, in the dictionary, they say, of a woman having many casual sexual encounters or relationships. So I guess, someone could be referred to as light. In other words, they're not really, much in the way of kind of like committed, enduring relationships that just kind of jump around a lot, so to speak. That one, that one wouldn't fly too well in the modern era. But this is yet another definition, and that's not the whole list, but those are just the ones that I chose for my purposes today. And I want you to think about all of those different iterations of light, of what light can mean, and what light can represent, both in the physical world, in the emotional world, in the spiritual world, in the metaphorical or symbolic world. There are many ways that we can deal with light. And so I want you, as we continue on, I want you to think about those and certainly come back to this video as many times as you like to kind of give this some more thought. So just some aspects or characteristics of light. Light, as you know, light particles are the fastest particles in the universe. When something moves at the speed of light, we're talking about, 186,000 miles per second? It's super fast. Light chases and challenges darkness just by being itself. Think about that. You can be in a completely dark room. The minute you turn the light on, almost instantaneously, the whole room is lit up. Or even if you just have a small source of light, like a candle or a little flashlight, it might be a dark room, but in that one little area where your light is, the darkness is gone. You can actually see even in that little area. So, symbolically speaking, if we're honest, and I'm including myself in this, We spend some of our time being a light and other times covering it up or trying to ignore it. But here is the reality. There's really no middle ground between light and darkness. In today's society, we want to make everything relative, and everything everybody thinks or does is okay as long as it works for them, often without regard for how it impacts others. But light is not that way. Light does one thing: it shines. It's so plain and so simple, but the truth is we have to, each and every one of us, decide if we're going to be, on the one hand, if we're going to be agents of light, or if we're going to be abettors of darkness. And if you don't know what an abettor is, think about how it's often used when someone's charged with aiding and abetting, meaning they're helping it along. So we can either act to help the light or we can act to help the darkness. But we're pretty much going to do one or the other. We can't kind of stay in a perpetually dim state forever. We're going to lean towards one or we're going to lean towards the other. And I think that's one of the reasons why, as little kids, many of us learned a little song. It just goes, this little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine, let it shine, let it shine, let it shine, right? Because we wanted to learn as children, and it still works as adults, that the little thing that we have does have an impact on those around us. And we have to decide what we're going to do. Are we going to cover it up? Are we going to let it shine? And then there's one verse that a lot of people don't do that's kind of deep when you think about it. It goes, I'm not going to make it shine. I'm just going to let it shine. And the idea there is that the light doesn't start or originate with us. The light actually comes from God. And we are just allowing the light to shine through us, as opposed to making ourselves or imagining that we are the light, quote unquote. We want people to focus on us. No, we don't want people to focus on us. We want people to see the light that is in us. And we just want to allow it to shine rather than to cover it up or somehow deny its power or take the responsibility that we have to make a difference in the world rather than just existing and serving ourselves. Okay, so I told you, this is Saturday Sentiments. We dig deep to find the good stuff. So this is an example of that. So we decided a long time ago, just like the old scripture says, as for me and my house, we have decided that we are going to walk in the light. And so, yes, you all have figured out where it is that I'm going here. This is, I have a song on my CD that's called Light of the World. And it's about this very same thing, even though it's a completely instrumental song. The symbolism there is very significant because, we're talking in terms of the light of the world, we're talking about the light of God. We're talking about, as it manifests itself through the person of Christ, So we want to walk in all that. We want to live and represent all those great teachings and all that wonderful influence so that we can be a light in the world and help to make the world a better place, as opposed to making it, covering the light up and allowing the world to just become a darker, drearier place. I think it's not by accident that light was the first thing that God mentioned. In the scripture, it said, let there be light, and there was. It just, and when you think about it, as fast as light particles move, all you have to really do is say, let there be, and it pretty much is. Now, as folks, get further into the world of physics, and, they talk about things moving faster than the speed of light, or certain things being light years away, meaning that, it would take something even moving at the speed of light, several years to get from one place to another. Like if you were to, try to shine some kind of particle of light starting at one point, getting to another. But as far as I know, I don't know if we've really had people traveling light years away yet. Maybe in their minds, but so that part, other than the movies, is still a little bit futuristic for us. But for our practical purposes, light can be everywhere at the same time. And, as soon as it comes on, it's everywhere. So, and that's kind of the way I want to think of it from a symbolic standpoint. Think about this. There's a passage of scripture that says, "You are the light of the world." This is Jesus talking. "A town built on a hill cannot be hidden. Neither do people light a lamp." See, that's the verb definition. "And put it under a bowl. Instead, they put it on its stand, and it gives light to everyone in the house. In the same way, let your light shine before others." This is the light of mine, right? "That they may see your good deeds," make a difference, "and glorify your Father in heaven." Okay? And then here are some of the other applications of light that I found. I'm not going to do a whole lot of them, but just a few. Now, remember that archaic definition that I ended with, number 18, where it talked about light as a woman, usually, and, having, multiple casual sexual encounters. It's a very, very patriarchal society we live in. And of course, she wouldn't have been able to do that herself, but, she gets blamed, not the guy. So that's just what we've done, unfortunately, far too often. But here's the thing. There is a famous passage of scripture that talks about the woman who was caught in adultery. The crazy thing is it doesn't talk about the man. Like, well, hello. But, without going to the whole story, basically her life was in danger. This was an offense that was punishable by stoning and potentially death, according to the law. So, essentially, Jesus intervened. And this is where that expression, let him who is without sin cast the first stone. He was calling people out for the hypocrisy, of judging her, but not looking inwardly and judging themselves on what they had done. So that right after, Jesus had forgiven this woman and said, go and sin no more. He spoke to the people and he said, "I am the light of the world. Whoever follows me will never walk in darkness, but will have the light of life." So what do? We walk in the light. And that way, we will never walk in darkness. Then there's another story. Again, judgmental people. There's a lot of that. And it's not new. There was a man who was born blind from birth. And, the old tradition was, if there was someone who was born, a child that was born blind, then, the saying would be, there's an assumption that someone sinned. And this was a result of that sin. So they were asking Jesus the question. They were saying, okay, so Jesus, who sinned that this child was born blind? And Jesus, being, who he was, and flipping the paradigm right on his ear to get people to think about the deeper meaning, not just the superficial, he said, neither this man nor his parents sinned, said Jesus, but this happened so that the works of God might be displayed in him. As long as it is day, we must do the works of him who sent me. Night is coming when no one can work. While I am in the world, I am the light of the world. Okay, so there you go. There's another definition or another example of light manifesting itself, in the person of Jesus Christ. And so, and of course you knew that, they didn't have very much in the way of artificial light back then. So literally, as soon as the sun went down, that was it. It was quitting time. So, so that was the symbolism of the day, but symbolically also, while we still have an opportunity, while we're still here, living and breathing, making moves, as people like to say, we have an opportunity to make a difference. And we have to decide whether we are going to be, again, agents of light or abettors of darkness. And it's just that simple. We just have to make that decision every day. And in many cases, several times a day, because we want many times to do stuff that may not be, may not be the most positive, or we want to sometimes be selfish or, not so much worry about what the other person is up to or what they need. We just want to get our needs met, and that's it. But we're not here to just serve ourselves. We truly aren't. So I was just thinking that in both of those examples, with the woman whose life he saved, and also the child who was born blind, it's very interesting that in both of those cases, what Jesus said was a countermeasure to sin, but not in the way that people imagined. He was actually flipping it on its ear. They were looking to judge and to condemn others. But Jesus used light to open their eyes to their own sin, the sin of judgment, the sin of prejudice, the sin of hypocrisy, and the sin of lack of integrity. So we have a choice to make too, and it's a challenge. That's why my topic today was, to look at the meaning or the meanings as they come across to the meaning of light, and then the challenge. The challenge is to shine the light on ourselves and look squarely at what we see. What do we see when we shine the light on ourselves? Does the light get amplified? Is it something that's pleasing? Is it something that is beneficial? Or does the light just show all the dark places in us that need light, but we're covering it up? We're shielding it so that the light can't get in there. Which one are we? And I think we've got to answer that question every day. It's not just a one and done. But every day that we live, we have opportunities to work towards the light, to walk in the light, or to walk in the darkness. But we can't really do both, not really. We can delude ourselves into thinking we can spend a little time, I'm going to just take a little walk in the darkness over here. I'll be back to the light in a minute. Well, as you know, the further you walk in the darkness and away from the light, the harder it is to find your way back. And similarly, the more you walk in light, the further away the darkness is from you until you're actually surrounded by light. Okay, so you see the symbolism there? So I ask you, do you accept the challenge of being a light in this world, of being someone who, using all of those definitions you just heard, someone who will make a positive difference, will make a positive change in the world? If you are, then I want to encourage you to partner with me. Send an email to people who make a difference at jazzinthespirit.com. This is not just a glorify myself, kind of thing, where I just want to talk to you about me and, say how great I am. I'm proud of some of the stuff that I've done. I think I've done some pretty awesome stuff. But again, that's not from me making it shine. That's from me attempting to let it shine. And so that's what I'm doing. And if you'd like to do that too, what we want to do through that email address, people who make a difference at jazzinthespirit.com, is we want to encourage each and every one to do something in their sphere of influence, to make a difference, to make someone's lives better, inspired by this music. And that's the reason why we'll gather. That's the reason why we'll share things that each of us are doing. And I hope that, in some way that these broadcasts and that I do presentations and whatever are making a difference in your life, and that maybe you might share them with someone else to get them to think a little bit more deeply about some things. Maybe they might play some of the music to inspire them to, if they might be going through some tough times. A lot of folks going through tough times in the pandemic, and we all need some inspiration. So yes, hear this as not a judgment, but a challenge to truly walk in the light. So in that spirit, let us strive to shine, to make a difference in the world, to show love more than we show hatred, to do what's right more than we do what's wrong. Nobody's perfect, of course, but we can strive to be a little more perfect every day. How do we do that? Well, in the Gospel of John, chapter 15, verse 4, Jesus again, who called himself the light of the world, he said, "Abide in me, and I in you. As the branch cannot bear fruit of itself unless it abides in the vine, neither can you unless you abide in me." Which just means, stay close, hang with me, So how do we abide? I'm glad you asked that question. We walk in the light. And I told you that this is an instrumental song, but there are actually words that are in the original hymn, and we can teach you those right quick. If you're listening, just repeat after me. Walk in the light, beautiful light. Now this one's a little King James-ish. Come where the dewdrops of mercy shine bright, right? And then you say, shine all around us by day and by night. And then this is the best part, Jesus, the light of the world. So when you put all that together, it just goes, walk in the light, beautiful light. Come where the dewdrops of mercy shine bright. Shine all around us by day and by night. Jesus, the light of the world. All right, now I'm going to turn this down for a sec so I can give you the tune, okay? So the tune is, wait a minute, let me get my little note here, because, I'm a musician, I want to be accurate. Oops. Okay, so what we have here, walk in the light, beautiful light. Come where the dewdrops of mercy shine bright. Then shine all around us, shine all around us by day and by night. Jesus, the light of the world. All right, so that's what it sounds like. Try it one more time. I got a little dry there. So, walk in the light, beautiful light. Come where the dewdrops of mercy shine bright. Shine all around us by day and by night. Jesus, the light of the world. So as you're thinking about being a light, this is something that you can sing to yourself, and you can encourage yourself to be a light. And not only can you sing, you can also dance. What? That's right. One of the best ways to reinforce a message is not only music, but dance, because you put your whole body into it. All right? And so I did something of the line dance yesterday. It was a little tricky because I had headphones on, the microphone, and trying to play my sax or whatever. But I have a simpler solution today. So today I'm going to employ my old friend, Mr. Saxman from New Orleans. It's a little souvenir that I got when I was down there. Can y'all see that, folks? On the yeah, that's him. He's been through the ringer a little bit, but he's a great souvenir that I got from one of my trips to New Orleans. How they have the parades and stuff. So I'm going to use him to illustrate the line dance. All right. So what happens is basically you form the shape of a cross. You go forward, and then you come back, and then you go to your right, and you come back. Then you go backwards, and you come back each time to the center. Then you go left and to the center, right? And then after you do that, you pivot this way, you pivot that way, you pivot that way, and then you start it again. Up, side, up, right, back, side, right? And for those of you that like those complicated line dances, this is not really complicated. The only thing we do is just that pivot that happens in the interlude. So I'm going to play the song for you, but I also want you to, if you want to get up and try to do the line dance and follow my man right here, you can do that. If you want to just sing the words, you can do that too. Or if you want to do both, you feel adventurous, go for it. So this is from my CD. This is Light of the World, and the chorus, Walk in the Light. All right. So he just bouncing back and forth, having a good old time. Woo-hoo. Yeah. All right. So he's going to turn this way to go at first. So then we go, all right? Then back to the center. Go to your right. Back to the center. Then you go backwards. Then back to the center. Then you go to the left. Then back to the center, right? Then you pivot. Then you pivot. Then you pivot. Now you're facing forward. You go forward. Come to center. center. Then you go back into the center. Then you go left into the center. Then you pivot. Then you pivot. Then you pivot. And now into the chorus. Walk in the light of beautiful love. Alright? Walk with the dewdrops of mercy and light. And we go back. Shine all around us by day and by night. To the left. Jesus the light of the world. Then you start another direction. Come back. To the right. Center. Go back to the center and left to the center. Woo-hoo. Then we pivot. Then we pivot. Then we pivot. Mr. Stephen Brown on guitar. Go right to the center. Hey, come back. Center, to the left, to the center, then you pivot, then you pivot, then you pivot, hey, come forward, back to the center, play Steve, to the right, to the center, you go back, to the center. Then you go left to the center. Then you pivot. Then you pivot. Then you pivot. Hey. Woo! Now it's jamming. To the right. Center. Hey. Go back. Hey. To the center. To the left. To the center. Aha! Do it again. Woo! Back. To the right. To the center. Go back. To the center. To the left. To the center. Hey, now we're gonna switch. Back. Get it. Get it. Get it. Take it right. Oh yeah, center. Woo! Go back to the center. You're jumping now, yeah. Now. Center. Now we're flipping. Hey. Hey. Back. To the right. To the center. Take it back now, y'all. To the center. To the left. To the center. Woo! Hey, go pivot. To the center. Pivot. Woo! Come on, bring it on home. Jesus the light of the yes. Woo! That's right. Take a bow, my dude. Yeah. Thank you from New Orleans. So I hope y'all enjoyed that little visual aid. It's a lot less tiring than doing it myself. But we have another Friday Night Inspiration coming up, so we'll probably do it then. And I'll let you know that I'll be doing another Tuesday talk this coming Tuesday. I'm slowing down the pace of the lives this month because I'm working on my book on gospel jazz, which I hope to have finished and out there by the Juneteenth of 2021, which is just around the corner. So I gotta be into it. But it's good. It's some good stuff, y'all. I've been getting some interviews from some people who are in the gospel jazz industry, and they've given some great quotes and some great insights. I'm trying to reach out to some more folks. So let me know. And then also, if I have some dancers who want to, y'all dance way better than me. My thing is playing, but I know there's some folk who can really set it off dancing. I would love to have some dancers to help me out to make a video. And then I'm looking for some videographers too, some people who know how to, not just hold a camera, but who really know how to put that thing together to make a music video. Because I think this is one of those things that could kind of take off. And I think a lot of folks would like to have a line dance that allows them to walk in the shape of a cross rather than in the shape of some other stuff. Again, we want to be agents of light, not abettors of darkness. I'm just saying. So that's my aim. So if y'all have that, hit me up, send me a message on any of these platforms, Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, Periscope, Twitter, Twitch, any of them, or just send me an email at people who make a difference at jazzandthespirit.com. Let me know that you want to make a difference and you want to partner with me to help me do this thing and help us to, I want to help you do your thing too. So I hope y'all have enjoyed that. Light of the World is our song for the month of April. If you have not, well, you've heard it now, but certainly go and check it out for yourself. You can download just the individual song if you like. You can preview it on YouTube. You can stream it on Spotify, on Tidal, on some of those other things. You can put it in a TikTok if you like. Those of you you like to do stuff with TikTok, can make that your little background music while you do the walk and the light dance. That's fine. There's lots of things you can do there. But I'm gonna get going because I have an actual in-person gig today with Soul Expressions. We're playing for a school way out there, Chatham, Virginia, 2.5 hours away. So it's gonna be fun. The kids out there, we've been doing that maybe about 5 years, and they keep calling us back. I'm like, as old as we are, but the kids love the music, and the teachers do too, which is great. So, so unfortunately, it's a private thing. Otherwise, I would invite y'all. But we're going to be outside, and everything's going to be social distanced, and people will have masks on and all that kind of fun stuff. So we're trying to be safe, make sure, and more people are getting their vaccines, which is great. But we still got to be safe. We still got to be careful out there. So thank you all for watching, and for those of you who watch later, send me some feedback. Let me know what you think. People who make a difference at jazzandthespirit.com. And as we're preparing to start doing more in-person things, people ask me a lot, well, how do we book you? How do we get to know, how do we find out how to bring Jazz in the Spirit to our city? Well, it's quite simple. INFO, that's info. Just send an email to info@jazzandthespirit.com. And that's all you do. Tell me about your event. Tell me what it is that you like to do. Usually there is a budget that's associated with that. So let me know if there's a price range that you have in mind already that you can work with, and we'll see what we can do. So, we do things individually with saxophone and tracks like I do online. I have a group of musicians that I work with as a band, and even some singers. So there are lots of possibilities, and of course I want to continue to promote this album and the Jazz in the Spirit repertoire. So hit me up, let me know. But as we're doing all that, make sure that you're doing everything you can to be an agent of light and not an abettor of darkness. Amen. All right, so we'll talk to you all next time. Hopefully we'll see you on Tuesday. But tell your friends about these broadcasts. We've got quite a few of them out here now, so people can check them out. Sit down when you have some time to think deeply about something, and help us. We dig deep to get to the good stuff. All right, so thank you all so much, and have a great day.